Hello, it is I, Greg Jolin, doing yet another Besieged Scars 8-4 draft for DraftMagic.com. Now, I do want to start this week's draft with a side note. New Phyrexia will be coming relatively soon to Magic Online, and this format is kind of stale by now, and it's about to be dead anyway. So let me know if you want me to do another format in my next draft, whether it be this weird new Zendikar World Rake Rise draft format or M11 for some reason. Urza's Block, Masters Edition, and even Tempest and Mirage Block are coming back briefly, so just let me know. And while I'm talking, this pick is really not that hard. There's a Bomb Mythic Rare, and I'm going to take a Consecrated Sphinx. That pack looks pretty weak overall. I don't think I'm getting anything tabled off it. The other best card in the pack was Flesh Eater Imp, probably, and I'm more than okay passing that card. Because when you first pick that card, I mean, it's a fine card. It just makes your draft really awkward because if you get cut and infect after that, it's just kind of brutal. All right, and wow. Well, guy to my right took a rare. Um, so I'm gonna be taking a Verdian Corruptor. 2 for 1s, always nice, etc., etc. I think I do kind of look at Spread the Sickness because I prefer blue black to blue green, but you know, as I've said, time and time again, I pretty much always draft based on power level, and Corruptor is the most powerful card in the pack. And if I somehow end up forced out of one or more of the colors I typically go into, I just want to have powerful cards to be able to build around. Not really sure where I was going with that one, but whatever. This pick is a lot trickier. The best two colored options happen to be in our colors, which are Rotwolf and Serum Raker. Rotwolf is a fine card. You play it even in non-infect because you're hoping for it to trade and draw you a card. Serum Raker is a solid flyer, and then there's also the solid artifact option of Peace Strider. So obviously, I want to play my big rare bomb, and although it's far more important what you're getting past than what you pass in the first pack, it's still helpful to try to cut off a color to your left so you at least get something from the second pack. So I'm gonna work on cutting blue as much as possible here. And this is probably just the strongest card out of those three, regardless if I'm gonna be blue. I'd probably even rather take Peace Strider there than the Rot Wolf, just because I think I'm more likely to get forced out of the green, and you're gonna play Peace Strider nearly all the time unless your Infect deck is just so good that you don't need to play a card like that. Wow. Uh, I have no idea how this comes fourth pick. Like, this card is actually just absurd. I am baffled by this. So there's an uncommon and two commons missing, unless of course there's a foil in this pack. I mean, this is pretty clearly the most powerful card in the pack. I don't understand how this comes fourth pick. I'm gonna take it. I'm not happy about shipping Geyser, but uh, I have no idea. Hmm. Uh, Geyser strong. I'm gonna be taking the Geyser. Skinwing's also quite good, but I'm gonna be playing blue. I shouldn't need more random flyers, although it is pretty ridiculous on Phyrexian Hydra. But then again, if I'm trying to get Hydra through for lethal, Geyser's gonna do the job even better than Skinwing. I I don't know. This just baffles me. Like, you play this guy even if you're not infect, they have to deal with it or it's just going to kill them by itself. It's the same theory as Phyrexian Juggernaut, except so much better. Doesn't die to artifact removal, doesn't die to turn to slag, doesn't die to pretty much anything. Until they block it a couple times and whittle it down, and even then you're almost guaranteed to get at least 2 for 1 off this, or kill them, or just have a giant blocker. But whatever, I'm done talking about it. I'm just going to accept the gift. This pack's not great. Going to take a cheap little Oculus. Oculus, fun guy. I once had a deck with Mortar Pod and 3 of that guy. That was quite entertaining for me. You gotta love the cards that can give you value like that. And Mortar Pod plus Oculus, man, that is so much value. And as usual, people despise white with a ridiculously late Divine Offering. And I'm not even going to be taking it, because this is also a pretty late Peace Strider. Must have been a very strong pack here. This happens somewhat often. Like, I think the last 2 drafts I've posted, I ended up moving into white. But here, I'm slightly more committed than I usually am in my drafts at this point. I have a lot of double green and double blue. Love me a Tangle Mantis. Better than any of the other options for me in that pack, obviously, and not going to switch for a card like an Ogre Resistor, which I'm not even convinced is better than Tangle Mantis. And what a surprise, my deck after 1 pack has the high end of its curve pretty well filled out. This never happens to me. Yep, late Sky Hunter, not surprising. I may as well just take it. I don't ever see a scenario where I want to side in, turn the tide. I've seen people do it and I don't get it. I'm sure someone in the forums will explain to me what situations is good to side in for. I shouldn't need a Spire Serpent here. And I'm certainly not going to be metal crafting. Well, with my 1 artifact so far. Yes, Oculus. No one respects this guy. I love him. So, going to the second pack, I'm not nearly as open as I usually am to taking random bomb rares. Like, I already have random bomb rares on my deck. So, it would have to be something really, really ridiculous for me to even consider switching. So, got a pretty good rare here. Grand Architect. Not really much artifacts that come with it right now, but I do have blue creatures. And making Oculus a 2/2 is actually pretty awesome. I think Trigon of Corruption is a consideration here as well, just because I'm blue-green, and depending on if I end up being able to pick up something on a splash, I'm probably not going to have any removal outside of artifact removal, so I'm not going to be able to deal with random utility guys like a Mirrorsmith or an Embersmith. Of course, by the time I can activate a Trigon, Mirrorsmith has probably gotten me anyway. I think it's better to take the Grand Architect here. Not 100% certain. Like, I don't know. Maybe I just haven't had Grand Architect often enough. It's not like you get a card like that all that often. This pack is pretty poor. I'm gonna be taking me a wall. I love me a wall of Tango Core. I don't really like second picking it. I don't really like third picking it. Ratchet Bomb. Ratchet Bomb's not great, but I don't really feel like I need another wall of Tango Cord here, and like I said, I'm gonna be blue-green. You don't really tend to have much in the way of removal, and Ratchet Bomb sometimes gets it done. Ugh. This is another one of those packs. It's like, it's not just bad for me, it's bad for everyone. The only cards coming through this way that are actually good are white cards. Big surprise there. But not even in this pack. It's not like Shikari or Edgewright are good cards. Um, I'm looking at the mediocre cards I'm looking at that might not even end up making my deck build are Untamed Might, Bladed Pinions, and Darksteel Mirror. As we've seen from past drafts, I don't think anyone likes a Darksteel Mirror as much as I do. And I can make it 1-2 with Grand Architect. That is some beatdown. I can get Bladed Pinions whenever I want, probably, and Darksteel Mirror is an uncommon. I mean, it would probably table, but whatever. Oh wow, look at all these Infect cards. So I can take a random Ichorclaw Mirror or Telgelad Fallen just because, or I can take a Mirror Smith with not all that many artifacts in my deck. I mean, Riddlesmith. This one's close again, I think. Like, Telgelad Fallen. My main goal isn't to infect people out, but it certainly could happen, and it can speed up a Hydra and or Corruptor Clock. And Riddlesmith is not going to be that strong here, I don't think. Not sure on that pick. Probably didn't need another 4-drop regardless. Yep, look at these white cards. And another random Infector. May as well grab a Trinket Mage. I don't have anything yet, but I can probably pick up something in the last pack. However, this card I do like a lot. Clone Shell is pretty awesome. And I find... So my preferred way of dealing with Clone Shell is typically to just deal with it at first opportunity. Like, you can't... I don't think... Unless you're extremely far ahead and you can just get over with flyers or whatever, you can't live the entire game in fear. It's probably going to happen at some point or another, so you may as well see what you have to deal with. Whereas my opponents, when I play this card, they typically just let me do whatever I want with it. Never block or never attack into it, and that just seems like a mistake to me. You're just playing the game way too passively at that point. Gotta disperse. Be pretty nice to disperse a Viridian Corruptor. Yeah, I found a Trinket, which, not the kind of card I want to play without white mana. Just take another defensive guy. Whatever. This guy, not be surprised if he makes the final deck. I do have 21 cards here that I consider at least marginally playable, if not great. So there's something. Bam! Trinket. I actually like this card a lot. Put it on an Oculus, man. How are you getting through that? Or even better, put it on Phyrexian Hydra. They have to chump it, and then they can't even attack through it. Hydra, I guess Hydra even gives... I mean, not that there was any option other than Disperse, but Hydra even gives Disperse more value there. They think they're killing it, it's just going to come right back down, and they're going to have to start chumping again. Oh, white cards, how everyone hates thee. Here's another Trinket that I'm almost certainly not playing. I'm not gonna lie, I've played this card. Sometimes you just... This card, not the Mirror Metal. Sometimes you just really need an artifact, no matter how bad it is. That happens more often in Triple Scars, though. Getting all sorts of mediocre tricks up in here. 24 cards that are at least marginally playable. Okay, not really Golden Urn. So that was one of those packs that it didn't help me much, but I don't think it helped anyone all that much. Depending on what insane rares or uncommons they cracked. So we're definitely at the point of the draft where if I crack a Horde Smelter or Carnifex or Demon something, I kind of just have to pass it along. I think any of that kind of ship has sailed. Or a Dark Slick Shores. Alright. Well, the two best cards in this pack are by far Galvanic Blast and Arc Trail. The best card for me would be a Copper Mirror. So I'm going to be taking a red card. I can't really splash it yet, but I have a whole pack to find a Horizon Spell Bomb or something. And I have this Trinket Mage if I do get a Horizon Spell Bomb. So the question is, which one is better? And if I could metalcraft, I would say Galvanic Blast would be better because when you're looking at a splash card, you're looking at later in the game typically. And if you can metalcraft Galvanic Blast, it's going to be better later in the game than Arc Trail. However, my deck is not going to be metal crafting, so I'd rather just take the Arc Trail, which I mean will still probably be fine on turn 5 or 6 or whatever, but clearly not as insane as if I could manage to cast it on turn 3. Guess I'm taking the Copper Mirror from this pack. I mean, this is a good trinket for my Trinket Mage, but Mana Mirror. And Flight Spellbomb, if there are more in this set of packs, is probably not going to go all that early. I should be able to pick one up 5th, 6th, 7th. What I really want to see now is a Horizon Spellbomb. No Horizon Spellbomb here. The options here are Skylo School and Rust Tick. And Skylo School is probably going to be better. I do like Rust Tick quite a bit, but it's hard to pass up on a Skylo School when you're in blue. That's another card that I feel like goes later than it should, Rust Tick. It's pretty much good in any deck. It's just, the pseudo removal type thing. I mean, yeah, it's vulnerable to any artifact removal, but in my experience, opponents just hate to use removal on Rust Tick. Hey, here's my Horizon Spellbomb with absolutely no other options for me in this pack. Easy picks. I like that. I don't like thinking. I could start hiding cards, but that seems like a lot of effort, which is ultimately irrelevant at this point in the draft. I'm going to be able to play enough 2-drops that my curve is fine, so I don't have to be overly concerned with it. I am going to have a lot of options for the last probably 4, 5, 6 slots on my deck after the obvious cards go in. And options are good, except for the fact that I'll probably make the wrong choice, but typically options are good. Do I really want a second Trinket Mage? Maybe I can pick up another Trinket. My other option in this pack is Trigon of Thought, which I do like. It goes very well in my typical slow control decks, even though this isn't really one of them. This deck can't really control. I'm just trying to get to some huge win condition. And Life Staff happens to be another decent trinket for the first Trinket Mage. I think I'll gamble on getting another decent trinket. A gambling man. I feel there will be another Horizon Spellbomb or a Flight Spellbomb. It will happen. Still have another couple chances. This one's actually interesting. Normally I would just slam Silver Mirror here, and it's probably what I'm taking anyway, but I don't need Mana Mirror that badly, and Norak Replica is pretty good, especially if I can return a Viridian Corruptor or a Trinket Mage. No, not really. I already have Disperse and a Quicksilver Geyser and enough defensive body, so yeah, it's just gonna be a Silver Mirror. But it was worth considering. Oh, look at this extra trinket. Obviously, you can't do anything with Surtark in this deck. May as well randomly hate a trainee. I'm not really concerned about anything else in this pack. Punic Spellbomb. So I'm not going to pick up another trinket unless that Flight Spellbomb tables. Which is unfortunate. Big Scrappy. When Wing Puncture is actually an option here. I'm not that weak to Plague Stinger. I have a Mirrodin Spy, I have Wall of Tangle Accord. This deck shouldn't need Scrappy though. I have enough big win conditions, so I might as well take a card that could be sided in. Flight Spell one didn't table. That's unfortunate. No one likes white. This is actually the more annoying card for me to potentially play against than Glinthawk. One person probably has all the white cards, but then they're going to lose anyway because they're white. I didn't see any late arrests going around anyway. What could be taking so long at this point? We're at the end of the draft. These cards are all dross. Bam, 2/2 for 4. In some formats, that is playable without any actual abilities. Not really this one though. So, this is not going to be an easy build. This is me we're talking about. The Oculuses are definitely in the deck. Not convinced on the Trinket Mages. Not even really convinced on the Arc Trail yet. I'll leave out the Retro Bomb for now, even though I'm pretty sure I'm playing it. What am I missing? Where's my other non-creature here? Ah, Geyser. Alright, so we have many okay options. Could go with the full Trinket Mage package and get in that a quarter shield. I do like that card, not gonna lie. Could have more defensive cards with Sea Strider and Darksteel Mirror. Get in the Ratchet Bomb, Invisimancer for another win condition. Ooh, actually, Invisimancer Phyrexian Hydra is pretty sick. That is pretty sick. Because they might take one hit from it, thinking that it doesn't matter, and then I get them with Invisimancer. And I do like cute combos. I think I'm gonna get the Ratchet Bomb in here. I want some sort of out to random things, even if it's an absurdly what's the word I'm looking for? A somewhat unlikely out, I guess. I'm at 6 artifacts in this deck right now, and the only other ones I'm even considering playing are Darksteel Mirror and a Quarter Shield. Don't really think I want the Riddlesmith. I don't think I want Halt Order. This isn't the sort of deck where I'm going to be sitting back. I'm trying to tap out most of the time. I think I'm going to get in this Trinket Mage package, so to speak. I really wish that Flight Spellbomb had tabled. That would have been awesome. And once I'm committing to the Trinket Mage package, the Arc Trail's in here for sure. Do I feel like this is a 16 or 17 land deck? 2 mana mirror. I just really hate missing land drops, and I'd rather play perhaps one land too many than some mediocre cards. So this is going to be a 17 land deck. So I want 2 more spells in here. I think I like Disperse. And let's see, what card's going to work best with the other things I'm playing? Tel'Jallad Fallen might actually be okay. It can hold off all their artifacts or be a random win condition. And I'm not too excited about any of these blue cards. I don't think I need a plated Sea Strider. I have Walls of Tangle Cord, Oculi, a Quarter Shield, Peace Strider, and it's always a decent sideboard option. I don't really want Halt Order. Like I said, I'd rather just be tapping out on my turn. I guess I could play a Mirror Metal. I normally don't play pump spells in this format, but it's very cheap, and I have 17 creatures. And it's my experience in this format that people just don't play around pump spells, period. Unless they're against Infect, then they expect pump spells. Yeah, I'm going to go for the Mirror Metal. I have plenty of sideboard options in this deck, which I like. I got Wing Puncture, Flyers, Withstand Death for heavy removal decks, Fall-In for heavy artifact decks, more defensive options in Mirror, Plated Strider, and other card party artifact decks. So this is a decent main deck, and I have a lot of sideboard options. Okay, never mind. The Arc Trail didn't end up in the deck, so all that thinking was actually not worth my time. So I'm going to have one mountain, and then a lot heavier blue than green, but my greens are all double costs. Certainly not going to be this. Can I get away with just 7 green? I really need double blue. Well, I really need double both. But I really need the single blue at least. This is tricky because I can't actually play any of my green cards without double green. Whereas I can play some blue cards with just 1 blue mana. And of course I have the Horizon Spellbomb. I think it's also more important that I land, say, a Tangle Mantis on curve than a Serum Breaker. Serum Breaker will stay relevant late into the game typically. Man, I could be wrong.